What's going on YouTube? I am Zombie Cartman, and today I'm going to tell you about when I went to Marine Corps boot camp. So, I signed the paperwork and everything on September 11th, 2001, but I wasn't actually scheduled to go to boot camp until November of 2001. So, my recruiter came and got me on November 4th, and he brought me to the Butte MEP Center. I spent pretty much that day doing a bunch more paperwork and a bunch of other stuff. And then the next day, me and two other guys actually flew from Butte to San Diego, California. Now, the flight that we took from Butte to San Diego was the cheapest flight known to man, and it probably took us anywhere from 12 to 16 hours to actually get there. I have no idea why it took so long, but it did, which played in heavily into our trip because there were so many different changes of flights that we were really nervous about missing our flights, so we didn't eat anything the whole way down there. And then when we got there, we checked in at the USO, and they asked us if we had eaten anything, and of course we said no, and they told us to go eat. So we went back into the airport area, and there was this McDonald's there, so we went and I got two double quarter pounder with cheese meals and a big old cup of coffee. And I thought, I'm going to drink this cup of coffee and I'll stay awake forever. And I took one sip of that coffee and burned the living shit out of my mouth. So bad that I actually couldn't even eat. I just didn't even want to. My mouth actually hurt. So we went back over to the USO and we walk in there and there's this drill instructor standing there with his back to us. And I walked up behind him and he just spins around and he's like, "Go get in fucking line." And I was like, "Oh shit." And I went running outside and there's like hundreds of dudes just in line. And they're all lining up to get into these white buses that were in a line as well down off the end of the freaking parking lot. And I go and I stand in the back of the line, and as soon as I got there, there was a bunch of other guys getting in line behind me, and there was drill instructors running up and down the line, just yelling at us, telling us to get tighter. They were saying, "Tighten it up," and I didn't understand what that meant, and so I just kind of stood there, and the guy shoved me into the guy that was standing in front of me, and they were shoving the guy behind me into me, and I'm just like, what the hell is going on, and we eventually get into a bus. And then we rode the bus over to the base, which it took about half an hour. And, that was pretty much the last bit of peace that we had. I don't think there was even any drill instructors on the bus. We just rode over there. And then as we pulled up to where we were stopping at the base, I saw this drill instructor, just a blur of him basically as he ran. And he didn't even hit any of the steps coming onto the bus. He was just standing there all of a sudden next to the driver, and he's like, "Get off my fucking bus." And we all took off. We get up and we're all trying to get off the bus, and we run outside and there's these yellow footprints right there on the sidewalk, and they were sitting there in a 45-degree angle, the way you're supposed to stand when you're at the position of attention. And so we went and we stood on them, and when you're standing on the footprints, you're sitting there looking at this sign on the wall, and it says Article 86, absence without leave. And then the drill instructors make you all basically read that out loud together. And just going off of what that says, it basically says that if you leave without authorization, you're going to get punished. And the punishment can go all the way as far as you could actually go to prison. And that's the worst thing that you could actually do in the military, would be to go to boot camp and then mess up so bad that you end up in prison. But that is possible, and that's one thing that really keeps people in line. But after that, we're standing there on the footprints and everything, and they decided to go ahead and run us on into the building. So we go inside and we're standing up against this wall in a line. And then eventually we went into this little room, and there's all these little cubicle like things on these benches or whatever, and we had to put all our stuff in there. And then I think they came back in and put all our stuff in a box or something. And then, you know, that box was basically taken. We didn't get any of our personal stuff back until the very end. And then from there we went and we got our hair cut, which we got our heads completely shaved, and that probably took about 10 seconds or less for each person. They do not fuck around with them clippers. But after that, there was more standing in line. I swear you spend the majority of that first 2 days just standing in line. And you're not allowed to sleep or anything like that. And it's really terrible. You know, it's just, you're exhausted. You're going through all this crap. You got everybody screaming at you everywhere you go. There's people that are not even, you know, they're not even drill instructors. They're like the Navy corpsmen and stuff, and they're just treating you like garbage. And you're like, dude, I'm coming to serve my country, and this is what happens. But it's all part of it. I mean, they're breaking you down so that they can build you back up, but, or you know, they're brainwashing you basically. But you know, at a certain point, we did go to medical. We got a bunch of shots and crap. And then I know at the very end of like the little sleep deprivation cycle that we go through, they put us all in this big room, and like the walls were red, and it made it really hard to stay awake. We're just sitting in there for hours, and you know, you would see guys next to you falling asleep, and the drill instructors would scream from the back of the room at them, and they would pop right back up. And you know, this is just the very beginning, so the drill instructors are really not even that bad yet. But you know, after that, they were taking us by little groups into this hallway once again to stand in a line. Only from there, we were brought into this little room where this guy asked us one at a time if we had lied about anything on our contract. And I, standing in the line outside of, you know, outside of the room, I heard guys admitting to doing like really hardcore drugs and all kinds of different crimes and stuff like that. I heard one kid that I was pretty sure was just trying to admit to everything so that he could get out of there, because you know, there's no way he did all that stuff. But either way, that's going to pretty much wrap it up for the boot camp story for today. I really appreciate you guys watching, and I hope you come back for the next one. And until then, I hope you guys just have a really good day.